and we're recording. Queen, thank you very much for being with us today. I'm delighted to have you as a guest, and I know that you're going to have some wonderful words of wisdom and information for our listeners.
Thank you so much, Dean, for having me. It's an honor to be here. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, great. I'm excited to have you. And I want to jump right into it. And
Okay.
in your resume, you have a lot of information about you and the things that you're doing. And I want to get to all that, but I want to qualify and I try to define terms because everybody has a little bit different perspective in the metaphysical world.
Ah,
And you bill yourself as a light worker. What is your perspective of what light is and what a light worker is?
Thank you for that. I am a light worker, a way shower, a frequency code holder, and a new earth representative. I am here and I have come forth for a time such as this to plant seeds and water plants for new earth living. I am
Okay.
here anchoring light for New Earth living. And it makes me excited to speak with someone who understands the concept of just even ask that question, what is light? We are light. We are light beings.
Hmm.
And the light is how can I say, all that is. It's all that is. It's
Hmm.
that conscious uh, energy conscious energy that we are. Yes, we're clothed in flesh. Yeah, matter,
Hmm.
avatar, vessel, whatever you want to call it. We're clothed in it. However, it is clothing our light being. We've come forth as light, but a lot of us, Dean, um, don't know that. We don't
Hmm.
know that we are light. We're not living in that remembered state. We
Hmm.
are not, they are not awakened. And that's what awakened truly is. People ask, so what does it mean to be awakened? I'm not talking woke. I'm talking about awakened. What does it mean to be awakened? It just means that you live, move, and have your beingness from a remembered state. You remember who you are.
Very good. I mean, in my understanding, my um, teachings, uh, light is information. Light informs energy and how to be, and we are energy. Everything that we experience is energy.
Absolutely.
And as a light worker, my perspective is that is an entity such as you, such as me, that um, has undertaken the task of expanding information that
Hmm.
is available to the in our current situation listening public,
Hmm.
and providing the opportunity for them to expand their horizons and participate more um, consciously,
Yes.
more
Yes.
intentionally in their
Yes.
own evolution and advancement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our soul contracts call for us and we're here to expand, experience, explore, uh, you know, um, but we have to come into a remembered state
Right,
of that, of that
right.
very thing. And light workers do that. I'm planting seeds and watering plants for new earth living. And my background is that of an educator,
Hmm.
27 years. So we're always, Dean, on our path, although we may be oblivious to it, but our path, we're on it. And so this teaching, that the path that I was on, it all led up to what's happening now. Well, I tell you, the universe is perfect and it does work on a need to know basis.
Hmm.
Okay. Because if you knew everything all at once, then what's the point in being here? Where's the expansion?
Right,
Right? Where's the
right,
experience? Where's the
right.
exploration? Where's the fun in
Yeah,
it all? Yeah.
Well, I understand also from, you saying a need to know basis. It's not just necessarily a need to know basis from the standpoint of exclusion of anybody,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
but
Right, you're right.
you have to ask the question. If you have to be able to ask the question. If you can ask the question, then the universe knows that you're ready to get that information.
Your
If you
soul
don't know
knows.
to ask the question, then it just doesn't get asked, so you don't get that information.
There we go. There we go. Absolutely. And here's the thing. This I tell you, I retired from teaching 27 years.
Mhm.
And uh shortly after that realized, oh, I'm gonna have to keep working in order to, to supplement my pension, you know?
Right.
And
Yeah.
then a realization came too, because oh, my soul says, hey, wait a minute. I'm gonna always have to do this. And I didn't want to be 70 years old saying welcome to Walmart, you know. Um, because that's what's gonna happen, right? I
Which
mean,
is not a bad thing,
it's
but
not a bad thing, but
yeah.
I didn't want that. And it was in that moment that I moved into once again just being on path, asking that question, and your soul saying, "Hey, you don't have to." I started researching the top 10 places to retire. I did in 2017 relocate, residente permanente, in Mexico. I moved to um, Jalisco, Mexico, which uh, the area in Jalisco is called Lake Chapala. Lake
Okay.
Chapala houses the largest expat community in the country of
Really?
Mexico. Yeah, Americans and Canadians, man, who kind of they figured it out. They figured it out. And I tell you, we walk along that northern shore of the lake, just kind of grinning and smiling and giggling at one another because it's like, hey, you got out, you got out. Oh, great, we got out.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But it was there where my true awakening took place. It was there that, like you said, Dean, those questions started being answered and things started lining up. I tell you that my crown chakra blew wide open, wide open. It was the lake and the mountains, and they have a energetic vortex there in the Lake
Mm.
Chapala area.
Okay.
Yes, and that was very powerful for me, and that's when my
And
brand.
you can feel that?
Oh my goodness! Listen, after visiting the vortex, I everything just started. That's when considerations of the soul was
Mhm.
born. That was my brand. That's where the books started coming and the blog started coming. And it was my brand, considerations of the soul. Because here's the thing, and I love it because all I'm doing, like you said, as it relates to information, is laying it out there, planting those seeds, watering those plants. And you can consider or not.
Well,
See, it's
your
very
choice.
soft,
You
and
still have
you
free
can
will.
consider
You yeah.
it or
You
not. So,
yeah.
yeah, that was my brand, Considerations of the Soul, and my writings began, and, it was a very powerful time for me, 4 years in Mexico, in the Lake Chapala area, in the state of Jalisco, and, I was just getting ready, Dean, to do a 8-month workshop called Your Soul's Journey. And I did a presentation and people were signed up. It was based on my books, my writings, and I got the call. That call was it was time to come home. I needed to take care of my parents. They had got to a point where they needed a full-time caregiver and that was me.
Mhm.
So I dropped everything. I went home. I'm born by the way, I'm born and raised in Detroit. And so
Okay.
I head home to Detroit, lay everything down, and I tended to my parents. I became their full-time caregiver. 2022, they both passed away within 10 months of each other.
Okay.
And shortly after that, actually, 17 days after laying my mom to rest, uh, in January, I took a trip to Guinea-Busal, West Africa. Didn't even know there was a Guinea-Bissau, West Africa, actually. Guinea-Bissau, but it came about because I took you know ancestry, right, Dean? You know,
Mhm.
if you take that ancestry, they'll tell you you're a
Right.
little bit of this and you're a little bit of that, and your region is over there, right?
Mhm.
But Dean, over 20 years ago, a group of Black scientists got together and they created the largest database of Black blood in the world. It's called
Really?
African ancestry. Now, get this, Dean. You take that DNA test, not only would it tell you what country out of the 54 sovereign countries on the continent of Africa, what country your bloodline originated in, be it paternal or maternal,
Mhm.
it'll also tell you your tribe.
Really?
Yes, yes.
Wow.
So, again, just being open and receiving those answers to those questions when your
Mhm.
soul knows that you're ready. And again, that after finding that out, and I did discover that I am from maternally, I'm from the Fula tribe, the
Okay.
Fulani tribe, the Fula tribe of Guinea-Busal, West Africa. Now, sure, there's a Fula all over the continent, but more than likely, you're going to find that you're going to score somewhere along that western coast.
Mhm.
Due to the Atlantic slave trade, right? So Guinea-Bissau is a small little country on the western coast of the continent of Africa.
Wow.
So my original maternal bloodline is that of the Fula people in Guinea-Bissau, West Africa. I took a trip there, and I stepped foot in my ancestral uh, village in
Hmm.
Guinea-Bissau, West Africa, on my birthday. Actually, it was my 60th birthday. And when I returned back to the States, the whole trip was profound. I don't want to just glass over it. The trip was profound. After I left Guinea-Bissau, I then went to Egypt and I spent 2 weeks in Egypt and I cruised the Nile and everything that took place in there. That's a whole nother a whole nother podcast. And I
Yeah.
just don't want to but it was profound in my journey. When I returned back to the States, I created a nonprofit organization called Fula History and Genealogy Society. In America. But mind you, I'm returning back to Detroit because
Mhm.
that's where, I was still uh living there after, mom and pop passed. So I started
Right.
working. And here's the thing about that, and this pretty much is going to be you know, the summary of what the takeaway is from that is that when I went back to Guinea-Bissau, I took back my mother. Understand, anywhere between 200 and 250 years, she was the one who survived the passage. She didn't jump off the ship.
Mhm.
She didn't die on the ship, from sickness. She survived the passage. Now, when she got here, she got mixed with a whole lot of other uh,
Right. Right.
bloodlines, due to breeding
Right.
and what have you. But the original bloodline is that of Guinea-Bissau. There are several countries in West Africa who are in the continent of Africa that are participating in something called repatriation, which means if you can show that, through ancestry, that your bloodline originated in that country, you can apply for citizenship.
Oh,
And
wow. Okay.
Guinea-Bissau was one of those countries. I have applied for citizenship. I was granted citizenship, but that was up under another government. That's who's there now. So I'm looking to take a trip back uh, for my 65th birthday and try to finalize that
That
passport.
procedure? Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
procedure.
the, I do another podcast, a sister podcast called Chatting
Mm,
with the Arcturians. And, my, significant other is a vocal channel for the Arcturians. And the Arcturians are, for brevity's sake, a sister, um, evolutionary entity, body,
uh-huh.
to our experience, and they have been guides to us for
Mm,
a long, long time. And they have disclosed to us frequently during the course of our conversations. And
Mhm.
we're talking that their purpose in what we're doing in that podcast is the same as what our purpose is in
Mhm.
communicating with you. But they make reference to the evolutionary progress of different parts of Earth history and the population. And the Western cultures that we participate in, we arrogantly presume that we are uh, the most advanced or the most evolved. And we base that primarily upon technology, which has nothing to do with our essence, with our evolution.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
they don't disclose, the Arcturians don't disclose specifically what tribes or what parts of African population that they're referencing, but they frequently reference that what we perceive to be the less advanced, the more primitive tribes that still exist around the world are actually spiritually significantly more advanced than our presumed civilization
Oh,
portions,
I could believe that, absolutely. Yeah.
and primarily because of the caring of each other, the interactions that they have amongst themselves,
Mhm.
and that creates a more not only cohesive group in order to learn from, but it allows them to develop that shared experience that allows us to spiritually evolve.
Mhm.
And I don't know. That would be an interesting thing to introduce, and I don't know how you would introduce that to the scientists that have put together the DNA tracks and things of that nature.
Mhm.
But and it
Mhm.
comes down really to the behavior, how the people within that subgroup that we call a tribe, and how they historically and currently treat each other, and what
Mhm.
their perceptions are, and the commonality, and the awarenesses that as a group they have been able to develop. And there are significant markers and that define our evolutionary behavior that results from our
Mm.
evolution of awareness. And just listening to your explanation of what they have put together with the different tribes in Africa, that would be interesting to have that opportunity to have an overlay of the behavior of the population as they are defined bloodlines, and
Yes. Yes.
uh,
Yes.
how that has transpired over time.
Yes, defined bloodlines and also languages. There are there are 3,000 uh, tribes in Africa and over 2,000 languages
Yeah.
on the
Oh, wow.
continent. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
of Africa. Matter of fact, my native tongue is called Pular. Now, I'll never speak it, but just
Yeah.
knowing that, you know, and here's the thing, part of my nonprofit is to just raise awareness about generational trauma. See, because trauma can be passed through DNA. We're
Right.
carrying trauma
Right.
of our ancestors unknowingly. But
Right.
no, just knowing that and disclosing that information. I'm not going any further, but just to raise awareness that it exists. And to say this about it. If trauma can be passed down through DNA, which it is, then healing can be passed up.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
that is
And
I was gonna lead to that,
mhm.
revelation that you just shared with us.
Yes.
Trauma can be stopped today. Yeah, it doesn't need to be perpetuated.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly, Dean. So, it was a very profound, trip, and it led me again, we're just talking about being, uh, on our path.
Right.
as a light worker. And what is my work
Yeah.
as a light worker? Uh,
Let me ask you more specifically. In
okay.
your experience, you obviously had a transition point before you were awakened and after you were awakened. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Do you recall what the element was, or the elements, not necessarily the experience, but the transformation within you that um, that would be representative of that transformation? What within you changed or happened?
It was the meeting of my soul self. It was me meeting me in meditation. It was
Okay.
the going within, meeting my soul self. And now I can take the conditioning and programming that, of course, everyone is, uh, everyone has. And
Yeah.
I was able to separate my soul self from my egoic self, which
Hmm.
serves a purpose. It
Hmm.
serves a general purpose, but it's not the general. So
Right.
I was able to put the egoic self in the back seat. And now, and you ask, what's the difference? Now, the transition with placing ego in the back seat, soul self is now in the front. And now I'm being led, guided, and directed from within.
Hmm.
So now
Hmm.
it's go left, go right, sit down, be quiet, turn around, call him, go
Hmm.
there. And I am in tune with this harmonious flow of the universe because my soul is. I'm always connected, but
Right.
aligned is a totally different thing. Now,
Right.
when you're aligned with your soul self, always connected, but aligned, oh, it's the game changer.
Right.
So you say, what changed within me? That transition was placing the egoic self in a position where it can still serve,
Hmm.
but now I'm that's living new earth now.
Okay.
It's not, of course, it's not that place. It's that state of consciousness. So that was the transition from me. No longer um awakening, but awakened.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a design, and we learn by all consciousness learns by comparison and contrast, the analogy process.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are designed to create, you're calling it an ego, you can call it an identity.
Contrast.
If you want to be fancy, you can call it a hierophant. But we're
Okay.
designed to create that. So we'll experience what we don't like, because if all you experience is what you like, you wouldn't know what you like because you have nothing to compare it to.
Exactly.
And so we're designed to create this ego
Mm-hmm.
with every reincarnation, and it's unique to that
Mm-hmm.
incarnation. And that allows us to experience a lot of what we don't like. So when we awaken, and awakening is nothing more than that first time that the awareness that you've had pointed outside of you in order to try to make the ego effective is turned inside.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same awareness,
Mm-hmm.
but it's
Mm-hmm.
the awareness is the inherent characteristic of the creator that we are tasked with becoming at this range of consciousness.
It's two wings that belong to the same bird.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just it's perspective is
Mm-hmm.
all it
Mm-hmm.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a difference between our awareness pointed outside of ourselves and trying to manipulate the
I
world to give
love
us
that.
more
I
of what we
love the way
like.
you say that our awareness pointed outside ourselves
Yeah, because
versus our awareness pointed through I love the way you said that.
well, that's the way that's
Yes.
when we begin to heal, is when we turn that
Mm-hmm.
awareness inside. And when
Mm-hmm.
we begin to contact that, as you refer to it, our soul self, which is
Exactly.
our enduring self, it's our metaphysical self. It's always there. You can call it whatever
Always.
you want to, but it's who we
Exactly.
truly are. It's our authentic self.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we're saying the same thing. I just
We
put that
are,
in different words
Dean.
for
We
you, but
we are so saying the same thing. You
yeah,
know.
exactly. So tell me more about your perception of the new earth. and
Oh,
the alpha generation.
mm. Don't you just love that name, Alpha?
I do.
Alpha,
Yeah.
Alpha being beginning. Listen, that generation, and this is actually why I came forth, and we'll and we will discuss talk about that. But we're going straight into who is Gen Alpha. Gen Alpha, born between 2010 2024, roughly, saying the oldest turned 13, probably last year. The oldest turned 13, give or take a few years,
Mhm.
as it relates to being exact, that as it relates to the years. But they were the first generation to be born fully in the 21st century. Generation Alpha has been clicking and swiping since infancy.
Mhm.
Since infancy, it's all that they know. They will be the largest generation in the history of the world. And get this, Dean, they are Generation Alpha, responsible for the conscious evolution of humanity.
Mhm.
That start of that total shift
Mhm.
from old earth to new earth. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
complete paradigm shift.
Mhm.
Um, and they're so very special. And here's the thing. Unfortunately, for Gen Alpha, because their parents and teachers and everyone around in their world are still trying to navigate this uh new way of being with technology and
Mhm.
what have you. They haven't been able to attend to equip them, because obviously they don't have it, the tools necessary to navigate their world. We're
Right.
not going, but they are,
Right.
and even right now today, Gen Alpha is on platforms and in spaces that their parents don't even understand.
Right.
They are in platforms and spaces free from parental influence. They
Mhm.
have only known external, period.
Mhm.
And only been taught, for the most part, externally. So there's a total deregulation of their nervous system and their emotions. And here's the thing, and I'm not blaming the millennials or those exes who got in the game late. I get it, because when you put that phone or that tablet into their hand and you looked and you saw the engagement, you was like, oh shoot, I can get my paper done. Oh, I can do the oh, I can't. So, and because you're still trying to keep up with the moving technology, but us
Mhm.
and those before us, it went off. See, the TV went off. Remember when the TV went off and the what was that? The American the American flag was shown and a
Right.
song was played, and then the next thing, just color. Go to bed. It's over.
Yeah.
It went
Mhm.
off. We grew up where it went off. They didn't. They
Right.
they haven't, because it
Yeah.
never goes off.
Mhm.
Therefore, and we're not giving them mm, the tools necessary to navigate their world. Now let me bring in what happened. Remember, I spent 4 years in Mexico, right? With
Mhm.
this awakening books and blogs and what have you, and had to go back to Detroit. I'd set all that down. My niece came over for it was her birthday. And I had my book called 52 Insights for Living New Earth Now. That was going to be part of the workshop. It was just sitting there. It's her birthday. So I was like, I'm going to give her this book. I'm going to give her the book and a bottle of wine, and a candle. Happy birthday, niece. She thumbed through the book and she said, oh, auntie. She said, this would be great for high school. She's a basketball coach and, a
Okay.
community advocate and what have you. And I kind of reared back for a minute. And I said, yeah, because I mean, it's just sitting there in the corner, you know. And
Mhm.
and and then I talked with another relative, and she said, "Oh no," she said, "That's middle school all day long." And that's when I'm telling you, Dean, it exploded once again. Soul Self reeled me in and said,
Mhm.
"Listen, all that work you did in Mexico." It was never for the audience that you thought it was for.
Right.
It was always for Gen Alpha.
Right.
And I'm like, well, who is Gen Alpha? That's when the deep dive began. And that's what I meant when I referenced need to know basis. Had I known that then, I probably would have messed it up in some kind of way. But in its
Well,
purest,
you had to learn. Yeah, you had to learn in order to be the teacher.
mm-hmm,
And when
mm-hmm,
we really learn is when we become a teacher because we think, as you know from your experiences in your career, if you
yes,
really want to learn something, then try and teach it
teach it.
because the
Right,
students demand from you that you
right.
know the depth of what you're offering.
Absolutely. So listen, working with my guides and what have you, 52 insights for living New Earth now became 52 insights for Gen Alpha, a
Hmm.
conscious curriculum. Somebody has to give them those tools. And I created lessons to go with my the quotes, the curriculum was a book of quotes, 52 by the way. So it's a whole year. But now I'm giving just not only reflection, but now deep dives. Now
Hmm.
you're going to deep dive into it a little bit more. So I piloted this program in 2 middle schools in Detroit during the 2024
Hmm.
25 school year. And boy, Dean, did I learn two very, very important lessons. Number one, you just said it. Unconscious can't teach consciousness,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
um, what I saw, coming back in as a teacher, because I'm in the schools now every day, working with teachers, piloting the program. And I had been removed from the classroom for what, 9, 10 years. So now
Hmm.
I'm back in. I'm in middle school, and I realized they couldn't possibly bring this level of mm, information to them because
Hmm.
they're in need of it themselves.
Right. Right.
Because all they do is put fires out. All they were doing was putting fires out all day long. Uh, they're not equipped to take students on a journey that they haven't been on themselves yet. You know,
Right.
we're
Right.
all on different levels of the spectrum of what I would call social emotional learning or emotional intelligence. We're all on different levels. And what I got from that is that it's a personal journey.
Hmm.
No one can take you on it. You are on it. And you just need to be, receive tools and guidance as it relates to getting there.
Right.
Uh, and it's just not going to happen in the classroom. It's not going to happen
Hmm.
in the classroom.
Right. No,
And
it,
I
it
needed to
classroom is too structured for that.
absolutely. And I needed
Yeah.
to integrate AI into the curriculum so that it could be adaptable and marketable,
Hmm.
for the audience. And then I learned that I had to expand the audience. I'm not talking about just Gen Alpha now. I'm
Hmm.
talking young adults, college students, teachers, counselors, mentors, social workers, parents, grandparents, anyone who is sewing into the lives of Gen Alpha. You know,
Hmm.
this is for you too as well. Because remember, I had a whole nother audience in
Right.
mind in the first place. So
Hmm.
now I've incorporated AI through a model called adaptive learning.
Okay.
Um, Cutting edge, extremely innovative. Uh, One of the learning management systems that specialize in adaptive learning is called cyber learning. And I've partnered with them and I have integrated my curriculum onto their platform.
Okay.
Uh, and what happens is that people will come on and take a Myers Briggs like personality test, and from that test, they are now put on their path. That it's
Okay.
100% online, it's 100% self paced, and you say, well, what's the framework? You know what the framework is? You know how I was able to even get this in the school? Because I mean, I can't tell you how many times I got shut down. No, no, no. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I remember going to a board meeting in Detroit, it was for Detroit Public Schools. They call them Detroit Public Community Schools now. And it was my time, my 3 minutes up, and I wanted to get up and and tell them about this wonderful so it was my turn and I got up and I talked about it.
You got 3 minutes to turn their light on.
Absolutely. So I
Yeah.
got up and I told them about it because surely they're going to see the value in this. Thank you so very much. Next.
Right.
That's that
Exactly. Yeah.
I was by the skin of my teeth that I got into 2 schools to actually do this, but I got on under the Castile, framework
Mhm.
of, character development. Remember back in the day, we had, the character development, and it was 5 pillars. It was,
Right.
self-awareness, relationship skills, self-management, social awareness, and responsible decision making. Well, I turned
Mhm.
that into conscious decision making. It's not about responsible, it's about conscious
Mhm.
decision making. And those are the paths. There's 5 paths. And as you'll go through the path of self-awareness, you'll go through the path of self-management, relationship skills, social awareness, and conscious decision making, but you're taking deep dives. And here's the thing, this work that I've done, Dean, that this work is light encoded.
Mhm.
It is
Right.
light
Yeah.
encoded in it, because my purest and sincerest intention has been placed in this work all along.
Mhm.
And so I've released light codes to assist anyone, anywhere that comes into any contact with the content. I'm ready for them to chew the grass and spit the sticks. What resonates with you, go ahead and hold on to that. Spit the sticks with the rest, but take the journey. Take the journey inward. For the first time, Gen Alpha and those adults who sow into their lives will get a chance to turn inward. That's it. I know that the work, will do itself, and it's just tools. It's
Yeah.
just tools and exercise and practices to help one maintain residence. Let's
Right.
circle back
Mhm.
to New Earth. To maintain residence, you just can't get there and then not do anything.
Right.
You have to maintain a bandwidth. You have to maintain a frequency of that uh,
Mhm.
realm of consciousness, if you will. So those are the tools that's being given to Generation Alpha to get them. Of course, the school system will never know, or allow the importance of something like this in. But I
Right.
got in through uh, the SEL framework, and now it's being piloted online for the fall. Uh,
Well, what you're describing actually challenges the identity of the school system, of
ex-
education system. And because you're challenging the identity of that system, they feel, and their any reluctance that they show uh, is reluctance because you're challenging the authenticity of their identity. And so consequently, they resist that
mhm.
because it's scary. It just like individually, it's the same process for an individual.
Yeah, yeah,
If you have a perception of self, if that perception of self is challenged, that's scary. That's when we experience stress. That's what stress is. And a group of any sort has an identity also as a result of the people that participate in that group. So what you're offering is challenging the authenticity of that identity, and
mhm.
so the resistance that you're feeling is
Or
fear on
felt,
their part.
yeah, I
Now,
felt that.
if I may give you some additional uh, um, nomenclature to use in your description of what you're calling Generation Alpha,
Mm,
um, we have we are experiencing actually a bifurcation of the population. Uh, Earth has been a third density planet,
yes,
which is very elementary.
yes,
And that has we have cycled among the lower dimensions of that density.
mhm,
The what you're referring to as Generation Alpha actually constitutes 47% of all the children that have been born since as you say, roughly 2005, but post in
Okay.
21st century. And there have
Okay.
been a few before that, but that generation is coming of age now. They're just
Mhm.
coming into their 20s and they're that age of responsibility.
Mhm.
They are significantly higher consciousness. They've graduated from third density.
Mhm.
That 47% is the next layer of consciousness, but they're
Mm.
just beginning a fourth density experience that is parallel with a renewed third density population. But also, the third density children are those that have achieved the higher dimensions of third density. So they're closer to fourth density.
Ah,
And
okay.
so the new Earth is actually going to be a bifurcation of third density and fourth density. Fourth density does not have chemical bodies like third density. Third
Right,
density, our
right.
bodies are very chemical. Fourth density is very, just for the lack of a better phraseology, is more electric.
Okay.
And so the children that are in this fourth entity are in transitional bodies. They're more
Mhm.
electric, but still principally chemical. As they have children, their children will become more electric and less chemical until they no
Mhm.
longer are chemical at all. When they do that, then they will no longer incarnate. They'll just whatever they incarnate in will be their light body until they surrender their perception of the authenticity of the physical entirely and no longer will participate in the physical. But
Mm.
the hope is that the third density generation that is having the close interactions of um, surviving, living
Mhm.
with the
Right.
fourth density generation, that their consciousness will be elevated because of the close affiliation with fourth density until fourth density separates and continues on a parallel path, but no longer interacts with third density. So that's what you're fostering.
Y y
You're fostering not only the third density generation that are higher consciousness, but the fourth density, which you can see their behavior on YouTube all day long. When you've got a 3-year-old playing Mozart perfectly
yeah.
and has no training, they just listened to it and sat
Mhm.
down and did
Mhm.
it. That's an illustration of fourth density capabilities
Mm.
because they don't have that a requirement for third density is we experience what's called the forgetting, which
Ah,
essentially we forget the closeness to all of creation.
yes.
Okay. Fourth density
Yes.
children don't have that. And so they don't feel that sense of separation. And so they feel much more not only capable, but uh, they feel that security, that empowerment, that being
Oh,
connected
wonderful.
to
Okay.
the creator feels. And
Uh-huh.
so that's why you're being given this information to foster this the children into accelerating their awareness into their fourth density capabilities.
Oh, that makes me feel so good, Dean. It makes me, that I know that this curriculum, this program is impactful and that is needed for a time such as this. And it was hard doing that pilot, and it was hard, doing getting it to this point where it is now, getting ready to go, online. And it's going to
Yeah,
be across the globe too, because I have people in Africa, Mexico,
around the
Canada,
world. Yeah, it's
all around
global.
the
It's
world
not it's not localized at all.
who will participate in
Yeah,
this pilot program. And then after that, Dean, that's my legacy.
yeah.
That's what I can. And you know what I'm gonna do, Dean, after that, of course, I'm just gonna be honest, is going to the I am going to, it's an investment, of course, to help me with my nonprofit.
Hmm.
Want to get back and do some things for my village
Right.
in Guinea-Busal. And then I want to do some rivers and rails, Dean.
Okay.
Before it's all said and done, I want to take cross country. I want to take yearly cross country uh, train rides and river cruises.
Oh, that would be great.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm gonna do because my soul self said you can. Let's get this finished though. Let's get this let's get this pilot up. Let's get this very potent information out there.
Right.
We'll take care of the rest. We'll
That's
take
right.
care of
Well, get those beliefs out of your identity that you can't, and you can attract whatever that you want.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Queen, do you have any words of wisdom you would like to share with our audience before we
Well, you know what?
depart?
You already you have such a your audience that follows you, boy. You guys are light years, ahead. I mean, you guys, y'all got it. um, I will read this. This is the first quote. I'm gonna leave. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna leave your
It's
audience.
okay.
This is the book. This was the book that was in the middle schools.
Okay.
Um, and really is 52 quotes. Um, Original quotes that was either in my blogs or my writings, or my audios, anything. These came from me, which came from, and this
Right.
is the
You were
very first.
directed. You were guided. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. This is the very first quote, and this is what I'll leave your audience with. But I know that your audience already knows this, but this is the first quote. The Matrix cares not of the quality and purpose of your life here, but only of the quantity and how much you can give over to the system. You owe no one or no thing your life.
It's great. That's from the Matrix.
Well,
Is
no,
it?
it's not from them. That's my quote.
Oh,
My
okay.
original quote. I'm just
Okay.
saying, when I say the Matrix, I'm talking about the system.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
that was my realization after retiring. And like Dean, I could have stayed on the wheel, man. I could have stayed in, got that job at Walmart, or Ubered, or done some substitute. I could have done whatever to continue working until I couldn't
Right.
work anymore. And then I would live substandardly because I'm not working, because they would have ate me all up.
Right.
So had I stayed on the wheel or in the matrix,
Mhm.
there would be no 52 insights
Right.
for Living New Earth now. There would be no Fula History and Genealogy Society in America. There would be no, pilot uh program, international pilot program, had I went ahead
Yeah.
and just gave in
Yeah.
and stayed in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been more comfortable possibly to stay
And
in.
and listen, we're talking 10 years ago. I moved to Mexico in 2017.
Mhm.
I was 54 years old. Could you imagine how my friends and family and you know 10 years ago, Mexico, what? With the cartel and the
Yeah.
drugs and the chick, you're going to Mexico. And
Yeah.
that's how come,
They were calling the men with the white jacket to come get you and haul you
oh,
away.
but I was up against that resistance, and I could have
Oh,
just
sure.
folded. I could have folded, but
Yeah.
then it wouldn't be this. You and
Right.
I wouldn't be having this conversation. So
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to leave them with that. And your people know that. But you owe
Yeah.
no one and no thing your
Yeah.
life. Yeah,
That is true. That is true. Queen, this has been a great chat. I've
it
enjoyed
has.
it, and it's
I
been a
knew it was going
delight
to be.
meeting you.
Yeah, Dean, I feel the same way, and thank you so much. It's been a while since I've just been able to really engage with someone who at the level of your knowledge and knowingness
Well,
of the truth. It
well,
was
thank you.
refreshing. It was quite refreshing.
It is, for me, it's refreshing also, and that's one of the reasons that I'm doing this podcast in addition to the others that I'm doing, and
Mm.
I do groups, of, people that are keenly interested in learning and so forth, and,
Well, see, that's what a
that's
light worker does. A
well,
light
that's what
worker
it's
assists
yeah,
people, who are trying to navigate that shift.
right.
That's what you're a light worker, Dean.
Yeah, I know.
Mm.
I didn't realize I went through that door, but yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
aware. All right, dear. I'm gonna click us off the record, and we can chat for a few minutes after we get off record.
Okay.
Okay? Hold on.